The air smelled like burning metal and blood. Smoke drifted through the trees. Somewhere nearby, a plasma cannon fired again. The ground shook. Nurse Alina Quinn pressed her hand harder against the wounded soldier's chest. Blood leaked through her gloves. His eyes fluttered. His mouth moved, trying to speak. "Stay with me," Alina shouted. "You're not dying today." She had seen many soldiers hurt. She had patched up shattered bones, closed deep wounds, even restarted stopped hearts. But this man, he was different. His skin was burned, his veins glowed faint blue under the skin, and his voice was hoarse like sand scraping metal, ... "Here, ... for war," the man whispered. "They single, quotes, ear." Lena froze. "What did you say?" she asked, but his eyes rolled back. He stopped breathing. Alina grabbed the defibrillator and shocked his chest. "Come on, breathe." She shocked him again. Nothing. Again. Still nothing. After 10 long seconds, the monitor flatlined. He was gone. Alina stared at his face. Who was he? His armor had no name, no rank, no ID chip. Only one thing stood out tattooed on his left arm. In faded black ink, Project Violet, 9th Wave. Her blood ran cold. That name, ... it was supposed to be shut down years ago. No one spoke of it now, unless they wanted trouble from high command. She stood up slowly and looked around the med tent. The lights flickered. Supplies were scattered on the floor. Half her team was out treating soldiers. The rest were dead or gone. Outside, the sky turned red as another fireball exploded in the distance. 12 hours earlier, the outpost on Faranine was quiet. The war had moved north toward the mountain lines. Only medics and a few squads remained. To treat the last injured and clear the area, Alina moved quickly through the medical bay, checking bandages and IVs. She was calm, focused, and fast. The other medics said she had magic hands. Patients lived when she touched them. She didn't believe in magic. She believed in science, hard work, and keeping her heart guarded. The wind outside picked up. Sand tapped against the walls. For a 9 always had strange weather, Alina. Someone called from the comms room. A drop pod just crashed outside the perimeter. "Is it one of ours?" she asked. No signal, no ID, but it hit hard, real hard. She grabbed her medkit and ran outside. The pod was smoking. Half buried in the dirt, its hull was cracked open like an egg. Inside, the man lay slumped forward, blood everywhere. His armor was bent, scorched, and humming faintly with old tech not used in years. Alina's breath caught. The armor looked familiar. She called for backup, but no one answered. She worked fast, pulling him out, stabilizing his chest, dragging him back to the medbay. Back in the present, the soldier was dead. The room felt colder now. She took off her gloves and looked at the words on his arm. Again, Project Violet, 9th Wave. Her heart pounded. She remembered that name from her training days. Only whispers. Only warnings. Something about special DNA. Genetic upgrades. A failed program. Test subjects who went crazy or disappeared. The files were sealed by the military. Why would this man know her name? Why would he say they were here for her? That night, Alina sat alone at her desk. The other medics had gone to rest. The body was sealed for transport. She couldn't sleep. She opened the old military network. Most of it was blocked. But she knew how to look between firewalls. She had done this before, secretly, years ago. She typed Project Violet, medical class, nothing. She typed 9th Wave, DNA trace 1 result, blinked open. It was coded and scrambled. She clicked it suddenly. Alarms blared in her room. Red lights flashed. Unauthorized access alert sent to command. No, no, no. She tried to close the file, but a message popped up instead. Lena Quinn. Access approved. Subject match, 97.9%. Lineage confirmed. Project Violet keyholder located. She stepped back, eyes wide. She was connected to the project. Somehow, ... She was part of it. That's when she heard the noise. A soft hiss from the vent above, then a whisper. Not words, just breathing.
Slow and human.
She grabbed a scalpel from the tray and stood still. Then crash. The lights went out. Something was. In the room with her, she backed toward the supply locker and locked herself inside. From the darkness outside, a voice called, not the voice of any human. The nurse is awake. Begin extraction. Next morning, Lena opened her eyes to the sunlight pouring through a crack in the broken roof. She had fallen asleep. Inside the locker, everything was quiet, too quiet. She stepped outside. The medbay was torn apart. The wounded were gone, no blood, no bodies, just ... silence. She checked the cameras, footage erased. Only one thing remained. A single message left on her monitor. 6 words glowing on the screen. You were never just a nurse. Hands shook. She looked out toward the hills. Something had begun, and she was right in the middle of it. Alina ran through the corridor. The medbay behind her was on fire. She held a young girl in her arms, a junior nurse, barely alive. Blood soaked the girl's uniform. Behind them, the sound of heavy footsteps, not human. She turned the corner and ducked into a supply room. Her heart pounded. The girl whimpered. Alina whispered, "Stay quiet." She peeked through a broken wall panel. Shadow moved across the hallway. It was tall, smooth. Its skin looked like metal. But it wasn't armor. The thing paused, sniffing the air. Then it spoke in a low, cold voice. No soldiers, just the healer left. Alina's blood turned cold. The creature moved on, but she heard more coming. They weren't killing the fighters. They were hunting the medics. 12 hours earlier, the sun had barely risen. The outpost was still empty. No wounded, no patients. No one had returned from the last battle. Alina stood outside, staring at the hills. Something was wrong. She could feel it. Inside the main tent, she checked the logs. No calls from command. No ships in orbit. No status reports. Everything had gone. Quiet. She walked to the communications tower, climbed halfway, and scanned the field. Nothing except a body in the grass. Far from the wall, Alina grabbed her kit and ran. When she got closer, she saw it wasn't a soldier. What of hers? She turned the body over. No injuries, no wounds, just 2 tiny holes in the neck. Like something had drained the blood. She stood up fast, looked around. No tracks, no shell casings. Just silence. She looked back at the medic's face. His eyes were open, still wet with tears. Back in the medbay, AI system had gone dark. Backup power flickered. Alina returned to the encrypted file she had seen last night. She ran a bypass. Screen. Blinked. This time it let her in. Project Violet, hidden lines, activated subjects with genetic code VI09 carry inbuilt defense against neural harvesting. She kept reading. Alien strike teams have been targeting medical units, not because they are weak, but because they carry the Violet strain. Medics were once used to test biodefensive genomes during the War of 10 Suns. The enemy remembers they wanted erased. Lena leaned back. She whispered, "They're not here to kill soldiers. They're here to erase the only threat we don't even know we have." The screen blinked again. A list of missing medics flashed across the screen. Her name was at the bottom. Quinn. Lena status. ACTIVE. Priority 1. Capture. Suddenly the building shook. Crash outside. Screams. Gunfire. She grabbed her pack. The defibrillator, a hand laser, and ran out. The assault, it wasn't an army. It was 3 creatures, but they moved like shadows. They were fast, quiet, and brutal. Soldiers fired at them, but nothing worked. Armor didn't matter. Bullets passed through them like air. Alina helped 2 injured nurses into a transport sled. She called over the comms. "Fall back. Don't fight. You're not after soldiers." Too late. One of the creatures leapt from a rooftop. It landed in front of her. Black eyes. Skin like liquid glass. Mouth split open in 3 sharp lines. It hissed. She raised her hand laser. Fired. The beam hit its face. The creature roared, but didn't fall. It reached out, then something exploded behind it. the transport sled she had rigged with a plasma. Tank blew it sky high, but 2 more were still coming. She ran back to present. The supply room. Alina held the girl tight. She reached into her medical kit. She pulled out a single injector vial. The serum was marked, Violet Boost Type C Emergency Use Only. She stared at it. She had never used it before, didn't even know what it would do. But the footsteps were getting closer. She looked down at the girl, then at the door. "I'm sorry," she whispered to herself. She stabbed the vial into her leg and injected the serum. A burning pain shot through her body. Her heart raced, her vision blurred. Muscles, tensed like coiled wires, outside the door burst open. One of the creatures stepped in. It hissed. Then Alina moved fast, faster than human. She grabbed a metal pipe and slammed it into the creature's head. Bone or whatever it had dashed shattered. It fell. She stood there panting, hands shaking, eyes wide. What? What just happened? Her? The AI's voice returned in her ear. "Welcome, Nurse Quinn. Violet protocol engaged." Alina stood over the creature's body. It wasn't breathing. Its black blood leaked across the floor. She dropped the metal pipe and looked at her. Hands. They were trembling, but not from fear. It's from something else. She could hear her own heart, but it was too fast. Her fingers twitched. Her skin glowed faint blue. Her vision was sharper, clearer. If she could see the dust in the air. And then the voice returned, soft and cold in her left ear. "Violet protocol, stage 1 complete. Strength enhancement confirmed. Neural firewalls stabilized. Welcome, subject 09A. Alina backed away. "What did you do to me?" she whispered. The AI answered calmly. "We did nothing." "What was already inside you?" Flashback. 12 years earlier, Earth's Medical Academy young Alina was sitting in a lab. She was 10 years old, alone, needles in both arms. Monitors beeped softly. A woman stood behind the glass wall, her mother. "Will it hurt?" Alina had asked. "No, baby," her mother said with a warm smile. "You're special, just a little." Test. Then the lights in the lab turned violet. Everything after that was a blur. She never remembered this moment until now. Now it was coming back. Present day. Outpost ruins. Alina sat in the wrecked medbay holding a mirror. Her eyes had changed. They were brighter, sharper. Her pupils didn't react like before. She wasn't just human anymore. "Why me?" she asked the AI. The voice replied, "Because your mother volunteered you." She was part of Project Violet Wave 3. You are Wave 9, the final subject, the only success. Alina shook her head. "I'm a nurse. I save people. I'm not some weapon." "Incorrect," said the AI. "You were born to survive. Your biology was designed for battlefield adaptability, rapid healing, resistance to neural invasion. You are not a soldier. But you are the most dangerous kind of survivor. New threats, new truths. The creatures that attacked weren't standard. Enemy units. They were called harvesters. Biological machines created to wipe out anyone with Violet DNA. And they weren't just on Faranine. They were moving across the war front, targeting medics, doctors, and any known Violet carriers. Alina now understood. The enemy wasn't just fighting humans. They were cleansing something, someone, her. The AI continued. Project Violet was canceled publicly, but secretly Command kept the genetic line alive, hidden among medics. Healing hands would never be suspected. But your biology was a weapon. Against psionic invasion, against Hivelink mind control. And the enemy knew it. Alina's stomach turned. All this time, I was a trap. Yes, said the AI. But now, you are the trigger. The AI guided her to a hidden door behind the storage unit. She unlocked it using her blood. Inside, a black case with a single chip and a sealed vial. This is stage 2, said the AI. It will complete your transformation. But it comes with a price. What price? She asked. You will gain complete neural protection. super reactive reflexes, bone and muscle density beyond baseline human. But your emotional centers will dim. Memories may blur. You may feel. Alina stared at the vial. Was it worth it? The war was changing. Soldiers were dying. Medics were being hunted. She had already used stage 1. She had already killed. Maybe there was no turning back. What happens if I don't take it? She asked. Then you will die within the week. The enemy has your scent now. She closed her eyes and made the choice. She took the vial, injected it. The world around her spun. Her body collapsed inside the mind in the dark. She saw her mother, saw the lab, heard the screams of other children, then heard one sentence. Whispered like a ghost. If she ever activates, she'll remember everything. Suddenly she saw faces, names, dozens of other nurses, dead, hunted. She saw a man with silver eyes, an alien general. Bring me the violet core, he had said, before she remembers what she is. Back to reality, Alina gasped awake. The body was different now, faster, stronger, sharper. The pain was gone. The fear was numb. And now she remembered the general, his face, his voice. She remembered the lab under the Earth Medical Academy. And she remembered her one last thing. Her mother wasn't dead. She was taken, and she was still alive. Last seen, Alina walked outside. The flames of the medbay crackled behind. Her dot, the wind blew across the dirt. A soldier limped toward her. Command is sending evac. She shook her head. Tell them I'm not coming. Where will you go? She looked to the dark mountains. To finish what they started. Screen cut to black. Smoke filled the battlefield. Soldiers screamed. Plasma shots flew through the air. Crawler tank exploded. A harvester charged toward a wounded private, limbs clicking. Eyes glowing red. The private closed his eyes, ready to die. But the blow never came. Something slammed into the harvester. Alina stood over it. Her uniform torn, hands glowing faint blue. Blood on her face, not hers. The harvester slashed at her. She caught its claws mid-swing, snapped its arms like twigs. She didn't even breathe hard. The private stared in shock. What are you? He whispered. She looked down at her trembling hands. I used to be a nurse. 12 hours earlier, hills outside Fahrenheit, Alina moved through the rocky terrain at night. She didn't sleep. She didn't need to anymore. Her senses were different. She could hear heartbeats from meters away. She could see in low light. Her muscles felt like coiled steel, but with the power came something else. A coldness, distance in her own heart. She remembered the AI's warning. Emotions may fade, will not feel as you once did. But her mind was clear, and she had a mission. Tracking the enemy using recovered data from the AI. Alina tracked the harvester signal to a ruined human outpost near the canyon line. She entered silently. Bodies everywhere. No soldiers. Psst. Only medical. Staff. One medic was barely alive, gasping. She knelt beside him. Who did this? She asked. His hand shook as he pointed to a hole in the ground, leading deep beneath the base. They're nesting. Underground. He died before he could say more. Alina stood and walked toward the hole. No hesitation. Underground lab deep below the surface. She found old tech, human, but mixed with something alien. Cracked pods. Half-grown creatures. Failed hybrids. On the far wall, a logo she hadn't seen since childhood. Project Violet, core test facility status, ABNDO, and it accept it. Wasn't empty. She heard movement. She moved fast, ducked behind a crate. 2 figures. Entered the chamber wearing human uniforms, but speaking in strange clicks. They weren't human. They were shapeshifters, infiltrators. Alina's body reacted before her mind could. She moved out of cover. Grabbed the first one by the neck and threw him into the wall. Bone cracked. The second pulled a blade coated in venom. It lunged. She dodged, twisted, snapped his spine. Both dropped to the ground. She didn't even sweat. Data. Core discovery at the center of the chamber. She found a hidden terminal. It activated when she touched it. A hologram appeared, her mother. Not Liv, a recording. If you're seeing this, they found you. They unlocked you. Her mother looked older, tired, but proud. You were never meant to fight. But if the enemy has come this far, then no one else can stop them. You are the final version. You are not just a healer anymore, Alina. You are the firewall, the cure, the weapon. The hologram vanished. Alina stood still. For a long time, she said nothing. Then she whispered, "Then let them feel what they tried to erase." The first strike, Alina climbed out of the underground facility. She followed the harvester trails too. A new front where human forces were losing badly. She didn't wait for orders. She moved like lightning through the battlefield. She didn't use guns. She didn't need them. Her hands cracked alien armor. Her reflexes dodged plasma fire. Her instincts predicted every move before it came. Soldiers stared at her in awe. Who is she? I thought she was just a medic. It's not a medic, that's a storm. Aftermath, a harvester line broke. They fell back. Alina stood over the last one, holding it by the throat. "Who sent you?" she asked. It hissed. "The one who remembers you. He's waiting." Then it self-destructed in a flash of blue light. Back at base, human command finally arrived. The battle was over. They found soldiers cheering. But when they asked about Alina, the response was always the same. She came. She fought. She vanished. A high-level officer watched the footage and frowned. "We need to bring her in. She's unstable. She's dangerous." A younger officer shook his head. "She's winning. We should be following her." The officer didn't answer, but someone else was listening. Someone hidden inside command. An alien spy in a general's skin. And he smiled. "Let her come. Oh, the real hunt begins now." Final scene, Alina stood on a cliff, watching the sun rise over Fahrenheit. Her old medic badge lay in her hand. She crushed it. Not because she hated what she was, but because she knew she had to become. "I won't just survive," she said. "I'll erase every last one of you." A room full of high-ranking officers stood around a glowing war table. On the screen, an image of Alina Quinn moving faster than any human, tearing through an alien strike team with nothing but her bare hands. She took down 3 harvesters and an entire flank squad, one colonel said. Without backup. But not all faces in the room were human. One figure in the shadows narrowed his glowing eyes. "She's not just a threat to them," he whispered. "She's a threat to us." He tapped a hidden transmitter on his collar. "Activate Protocol Delta. Begin extraction." Dead or alive. Hours earlier, a secret transmission. Alina crouched in the ruins of an old supply depot, digging through a rusted comb tower. The AI in her ear chimed softly. Cryptid burst detected originating from inside human command. She froze. "What kind of burst?" "Signal requesting tactical locations of all violet DNA carriers." Alina's breath caught. "They're not just hunting us on the field," she muttered. "They've already infiltrated command. The hidden enemy, using stolen codes." Alina broke into the black site database. Inside were chilling files, names of over 200 medical staff with partial or full violet genetics. 83 already dead. 47 missing. 32 currently active, none informed of what they are. She scrolled down, found something worse. Location tags. Every single one was clustered. "They're being placed near front lines," the AI said. "Command is using them as bait to draw out the harvesters." Alina stood in silence. Rage built behind her eyes. They weren't protecting violet carriers. They were sacrificing them. Rogue. Unit 7A. The survivors. Alina made a choice. She couldn't trust command. Not anymore. So she searched for survivors. Using comes buried deep in unmonitored channels. She sent a single coded message. "If you are medical and have felt different since the Farron shift, meet at grid 9. Bring no weapons. Bring your pain." Within 48 hours, they arrived. A former combat nurse missing one leg, but still walking. A field doctor who hadn't aged in 15 years. A surgical android who had stopped responding to military commands. A junior medic who had once brought a dead man back to life. And never told anyone. Only 7 came. But they were enough. She looked at them all and said one thing. They built us to heal. Now we'll show them what happens when they target the healers. The spy within back at command, General Cassian, watched as satellites showed a growing rebel group in Grid 9. He frowned. Rogue medics.
How cute.
Then his voice changed. Lower, rougher, not human. His skin shimmered in for a moment. His eyes turned silver. He sent a message straight to orbit. The core unit is forming. They are mobilizing under Subject 09A. Begin Phase 3. Deploy the Mimic Force. The Mimics arrived. Night fell. Alina and her new squad set up a hidden camp in an old mining crater. Then the screams started. A young scout ran back bleeding, shaking. They're coming, but they look like us. Mimics. Alien agents wearing the faces of Violet medics. Perfect. Copies. One looked exactly like Alina. For a moment, some of the group froze, unsure who to trust. But the real Alina stepped forward calmly, sliced the mimic's head clean off with a surgical bone saw. Trust this, she said. I don't flinch, they do. The rest of the squad followed her lead. One by one. The mimics fell. But they lost 2 of their own. The medic with the mechanical heart. And the girl who could heal with a touch. Alina didn't cry. She couldn't anymore. But her voice shook when she said, We're not fighting just an enemy. We're fighting the lie we were born into. Final scene later that night, she looked into the fire. One of the surviving medics asked, What are we even fighting for now? She replied, We're fighting for those who never knew what they were. For those used as tools. For the truth. Then she picked up the data core they'd stolen from the mimic leader's brain. Inside was a map. A location, a facility, hidden. Old, buried deep in space. Labeled simply, Mother Core, Project Violet Original Source. Her eyes narrowed. That's where it started, she said. And that's where we end it. Rain fell hard on the dark rocks of Titan's abandoned moon base. Inside an old hangar, a dozen figures stood around a table. Their uniforms were torn. Some wore half-shredded medarmor. One had no arms, only surgical tools wired to his shoulders. Another couldn't speak. But his eyes burned with purpose. Alina Quinn stood before them. She looked at each one. Survivors, failed test subjects, former medics no one believed in. They left us behind, she said. They called us weak, broken. But we're still here. And today, stop running. A young medic, barely 16, raised a trembling voice. What do we call ourselves? Alina turned to the glowing map showing their target. The alien facility buried beneath an asteroid field, the place where everything began. The Reclamation Squad, she said. And we've come to reclaim what was stolen from us. Earlier preparation for war. Alina's team had grown. After their fight with the mimics, other Violet-enhanced medics began reaching out hidden across colonies, ships, and forgotten outposts. They were once healers. Some still wore blood-stained gloves. Some had amputations, scars, broken implants. But each one had something in common. They were meant to be erased. Now, they were ready to fight back, using old wrecks and spare ship parts. They built their own vessel, the Scalpel. A fast, stealth-class ship made for one mission: cut deep, strike clean, and vanish. They trained in silence. Learned to fight with surgical precision. Every move fast, sharp, no waste. This wasn't an army. This was a strike team of ghosts. Planned their target. Mother Core, a deep space alien research station once used during the First War. Long forgotten, or so people believed. In truth, it had never stopped running. Satellite scans showed life, and inside it, the original DNA banks for Project Violet. If the enemy got them, they could build a counter-dash serum. If Alina got there first, she could shut it down, for good. But there was more. Inside the core, the AI found a signature, A living human signal. One match. Dr. Lyra. Quinolina's mother alive. Departure. The scalpel launched under heavy cloud cover. The ship held only 14. People all had lost everything. And yet no one complained. No one hesitated. They sat quietly, sharpening blades, checking syringes loaded with combat stims, whispering medical codes like battle hymns. One man, blind in both eyes, muttered, "They taught us to heal, but they never taught us what to do when healing wasn't enough." Arrival at Mother Kortha asteroid field was dense. Navigation was hell, but Alina piloted through like she felt the rocks. The core sat like a black wound in space, floating, alive, breathing slowly through light pulse chambers, no defense cannons, no visible guards. "Oh, it's a trap," one medic said. "Of course it is," Alina replied. "But it's our trap now." They entered through a side port. Inside, cold silence, smooth metal, strange lights and voices, whispers. "You were never meant to live. You are failed cells, rejected flesh. She is waiting." Split teams. One purpose. The reclamation squad broke into 3 units. Unit A, cut power to the memory banks. Unit B, destroy the clone tanks. Unit C, with Alina find Dr. Lyra Quinn. The halls were strange. They bent oddly, like the station had grown instead of being built. Some rooms pulsed like hearts. Others hummed with voices in languages no one taught. One medic dropped to his knees, whispering old memories. Another screamed when he saw a clone of himself, dead in a vat, but they kept moving. The heart of the core. Alina entered the central chamber. There, suspended in a stasis field, was her mother, eyes closed, hair floating in slow waves. She looked peaceful, but her body was wired into the mainframe feeding data to the alien system. A creature stood beside her, not a soldier, a speaker. Its voice entered Alina's mind. "You came too late," it said. "She's ours. The project will be reversed. You're nothing but a used shell." Alina didn't reply. She just stepped forward. The speaker extended its hand. "Join us. You could become more." Alina looked down at her gloves. The hands that once stitched wounds, reset bones, saved lives. Then she ripped the gloves off. "You already made me more." She leaped. The battle, it was not a war. It was a dissection. Alina fought with perfect precision. She struck pressure points, ripped out energy nodes, dismantled the speaker piece by piece faster than its regen code could repair. Behind her, the squad cut into the systems. The clone vats exploded. The AI howled through every speaker, but the reclamation squad kept moving. Silent and sure, they weren't soldiers. They were surgeons, and this was their patient. Extraction. Alina disconnected her mother from the system. Dr. Quinn opened her eyes. Weak but alive, she looked up at her daughter. "They were going to use me to rewrite you, but I knew you'd find me first." Alina didn't speak. She just held her hand. They left the core together as it burned. Final scene. Back aboard the scalpel. The medics sat quietly. They had done the impossible, one of them asked. "What now?" Alina looked at her mother, now resting. In the med bay, she stood at the front of the ship. Behind her, 13 other lives waited for a future they weren't supposed to have. Now she said, "We make sure no one forgets who we are." Alina Quinn stood alone in the med bay of the scalpel. Her mother lay unconscious on the surgical table. The wires were gone, but her vitals were dropping. Oxygen low, nerve signals fading. Alina had tried everything. Standard treatment didn't work. Regeneration pods failed. Her hands once called. Miracles now trembled. Then the AI whispered in her ear, "There is one last option, but it comes with a cost." Alina looked down at the black vial in her palm. Label VX Omega, the final serum, not tested, not stable. "If I take it," she asked, "your abilities will evolve. But so will the damage. It will unlock your full memory, your full purpose. And it will begin to erase yourself." Alina looked at her mother, still breathing, barely. "What is a self? If I lose her?" She took the serum, injected it, and the pain began. 12 hours earlier, orbit above the moon Assyriate after destroying the alien core station. The scalpel returned to human space. They thought the war was slowing, but the battlefield had only shifted. A coded message reached them through a hidden channel and old medical encryption only. Violet medics could read, "Come to Assyriate. There is something you must see. Something command kept from all of you." Attached, coordinates deep inside a dead hospital ship drifting in orbit inside it. Secrets older than the war. The hospital ship, Mercy's Fall the ship, was silent. Lights flickered. Inside, the walls were covered in strange mold, not natural, as Alina and two others moved deeper, the AI confirmed. This ship was never a med fleet. It was a testing chamber, memory prison. They reached the old med labs. Files were half deleted, but Alina accessed one chamber. Inside, she found cryopods each, holding children young, some still breathing. "Who are they?" one medic asked. Alina looked closer. DNA scans blinked green. Violet class. Incomplete. Archived. Forgotten. These were the failed generations of the program. It's left behind. Hidden. "We weren't the first," Alina whispered. "We were just the first to survive." Suddenly the ship shook. An alien boarding party had arrived. Harvesters again. But different. These ones were mutated, bigger, faster, and worse immune to their attacks. Trailing edge, the reclamation squad fought hard. But their tricks no longer worked. The harvesters adapted. Predicted moves. Blocked attacks. One medic was impaled, another was captured. Alina threw everything at them, broke bones. Disarmed two, crushed one's skull, but even she was slowing. The serum from before the stage 2 dose wasn't enough. Now her brain burned with static. Her muscles ached. The AI gave her one choice. There is a final vial left. Hidden in your mother's blood, this was designed to activate only when a child of Violet reached critical failure. "You mean it's part of her?" Alina asked. "Yes. To access it, you must risk her life or trade your own." Alina made her choice. She would not let her mother die. She would take the last vial herself. Back to present. Injection and memory surge as the VX Omega serum entered her body. Something snapped. Time broke. Her memories shattered like glass and reformed to something new. She saw the truth her mother never volunteered her. It was a forced program. Alina had been bred for it. Command knew all along. The war had been started by humans using Violet tech to lure the enemy into battle. The aliens didn't want war. They feared what Violet DNA could do. Would become. The serum didn't just unlock power, it unlocked awareness. Alina saw herself from above, saw the pattern.
The blueprint.
The weapon they had turned her into, and deep inside her mind, she saw something else. A room of people watching. Silent, observing through her eyes. "We built you," they said. "You are the firewall between species. You decide who lives, who dies." New abilities, and the price when Alina awoke, the world was quiet, too quiet. Her heartbeat no longer raced, her body no longer hurt. She walked through the wreckage of the ship, the harvesters, dead her team, alive but stunned. "What happened?" Juan whispered. Alina spoke softly. "I told them to stop, and they listened." She hadn't used weapons. She had used command. Her voice now carried an invisible code, one that affected neural systems. Her DNA had become a signal, a final warning, but the AI had not lied. Her thoughts were fading, some names forgotten, some feelings distant. She had power now, but she was losing herself, and only one thing kept her. Anchored her mother's voice, weak, cracked, but real. "Don't lose who you are. Don't let them take your heart." Lena stared into the stars. "Then I have one final mission left." Final scene. The AI showed her the last location, a planet hidden by war zones. Earth's secret archive world where the true masters of Project. Violet waited, where the war didn't end, it began. Alina closed her eyes. "Prepare the scalpel. We finish this." The planet didn't appear on any star map. No orbit beacons, no signals, just silence. Alina Quinn stood at the front of the scalpel as it exited hyperspace. Her eyes, once soft and kind, now burned like quiet stars, steady, unreadable. "This is it," she said, "the place where they made us." The AI. Confirmed. Designation: Earth, Black Site, Biogenesis Core. Final directive storage. Live protocols still active. Inside that world. Were the people who built Project Violet? Who hid it? Used children like her as weapons. Alina's hands flexed. Her voice calm. "We're not here to destroy. We're here to expose." Descent to the Forbidden Planet. The reclamation squad geared up. They were fewer now, some lost in battle, some still recovering. But each wore their scars with purpose. No more med kits. No more injections. They carried truth now, and truth cuts. Deeper, as the scalpel entered the atmosphere, defense systems activated. Dozens of satellites swiveled, missiles launched, but Alina didn't flinch. She stepped forward, placed her hand on the comm screen, and spoke. "I am Subject 09A. Violet Final. Stand down. Everything." Paused. Then all weapons powered down, even after everything. The old code still listened to her voice. The Volta team landed at a crater of metal and glass. Beneath it, an old bunker. They entered through winding corridors filled with flickering blue light, walls lined with names, files, videos, hundreds of Violet subjects. Only 9 had ever lived past. Phase 2, and only one reached final directive. Her Alina, inside. The main chamber, they found them. 5 humans in black robes, faces old, eyes empty. The founders. They turned as if expecting her. "You have returned," one said, "the final seed. We wondered how long it would take." Alina stepped forward, her voice steady. "Why did you do it?" One founder spoke. "Because war is not won with soldiers, it's won with survival. You are the future. You are what comes after the fire." She didn't blink. "You killed children. You made medics into weapons. You fed us to the war." Another replied. "We gave you purpose. Without us, you'd be dust. You didn't survive despite the program. You survived because of it." Alina held up the data chip she had carried since the Mercy's fall ship. "I downloaded every file, every test, every death." She placed it in the center console. "Now everyone sees it," the AI confirmed. "Broadcasting to all human and allied systems. Load complete." Across the galaxy, the truth spread like wildfire. The final choice, the founders panicked. "You doomed the program. You've ended humanity's only chance." Alina stared at them. "No," she said. "Psh. I gave humanity a new chance, one. That doesn't hide behind lies." Then the founders activated one final command. Directive Failsafe V, X Omega Core. Detonation in 60 seconds. They would destroy the planet before letting their secrets live. Alina turned to her squad. "Get to the ship. Now." They protested, but she raised her hand. "This is my directive. Let me end it." She walked into the heart of the core, lights flashing, alarms screaming. Her body pulsed with the final serum's energy. She reached the detonation console. The AI whispered, "You can absorb the blast, but it will burn away the last of your identity. You will be nothing else." "I know," Alina said. "Do you accept?" She looked into the light. She thought of her mother, her squad. The young medic who once asked, "What are we fighting for?" She smiled softly. "I'm not fighting anymore. I'm finishing." The explosion that never came from orbit. The scalpel waited for the blast, but it never happened. Instead, a wave of blue light spread from the planet's soft, endless quiet. The AI crackled. Directive core neutralized. All Violet coded. Weapons offline, all genetic locks disabled. She did it. 1 year later, the galaxy responds across systems. Medics watched the truth unfold. Medics who once hid their gifts now walked openly. New laws were made to protect biomodified healers. The name Project Violet became known not as a weapon, but as a warning and a symbol of pain, of hope, of Alina. Her story became legend. The nurse who healed a war. Final scene in a quiet garden on Earth. A memorial stood. No armor, no guns, just a statue of a woman in a medic coat kneeling beside a wounded soldier, hand on his chest, eyes glowing soft blue, the plaque read. She was never just a medic. She was the last light in a galaxy full of fire. She chose to heal until healing meant sacrifice. Remember her. Remember them. A child walked up and touched the statue. Was she real? He asked. His mother nodded. Yes. She saved more than lives. She saved the truth. The stars shimmered above, and somewhere in the wind, a soft voice whispered, "You are not broken. You are becoming." The planet didn't appear on any star map. No orbit beacons, no signals, just silence. Alina. Quinn stood at the front of the scalpel as it exited hyperspace. Her eyes, once soft and kind, now burned like quiet stars, steady, unreadable. "Is it," she said, "the place where they made us?" The AI confirmed. Designation: Earth Black Site Phiogenesis Core. Final directive storage. Live protocols still active inside that world. We're the people who built Project Violet, who hid it, who used children like her as weapons. Alina's hands flexed, her voice calm. We're not here to destroy, we're here to expose. Descent to the forbidden planet, the reclamation squad geared up. They were fewer now, some lost in battle. Some still recovering. But each wore their scars with purpose. No more medkits, no more injections. They carried truth now, and truth cuts. Deeper, as the scalpel entered the atmosphere, defense systems activated, dozens of satellites swiveled, missiles launched, but Alina didn't flinch. She stepped forward, placed her hand on the comm screen, and spoke. "I am Subject 09A. Violet Final. Stand down, everything." Paused, then all weapons powered down, even after everything. The old code still listened to her voice. The Volta team landed at a crater of metal and glass. Beneath it, an old bunker. They entered through winding corridors filled with flickering blue light, walls lined with names, files, videos, hundreds of Violet subjects. Only 9 had ever lived past Phase 2, and only 1 reached final directive. Her, Alina, inside. The main chamber, they found them. 5 humans in black robes, faces old, eyes empty. The founders, they turned, as if expecting her. "You have returned," one said, "the final seed. We wondered how long it would take." Alina stepped forward, her voice steady. "Why did you do it?" One founder spoke. "Because war is not one with soldiers. It's one with survival. You are the future. You are what comes after the fire." She didn't blink. "You killed children. You made medics into weapons. You fed us to the war," another replied. "We gave you purpose. Without us, you'd be dust. You didn't survive despite the program, you survived because of it." Alina held up the data chip she had carried since the Mercy's Fall ship. "I downloaded every file, every test, every death." She placed it in the center console. "Now, everyone sees it," the AI confirmed. "Broadcasting to all human and allied systems. Upload complete." Across the galaxy, the truth spread like wildfire. The final choice, the founders panicked. "You doomed the program. You've ended humanity's only chance." Alina stared at them. "No," she said. "I gave humanity a new chance, one that doesn't hide behind lies." Then the founders activated one final command. Directive Failsafe EX Omega Core. Detonation in 60 seconds. They would destroy the planet before letting their secrets live. Alina turned to her squad. "Get to the ship, now." They protested, but she raised her hand. "This is my directive. Let me end it." She walked into the heart of the core. Lights flashing, alarms screaming. Her body pulsed with the final. Serum's energy. She reached the detonation console. The AI whispered, "You can absorb the blast, but it will burn away the last of your identity. You will be something else." "I know," Alina said. "Do you accept?" She looked into the light. She thought of her mother, her squad. The young medic who once asked, "What are we fighting for?" She smiled softly. "I'm not fighting anymore. I'm finishing." The explosion that never came from orbit. The scalpel waited for the blast, but it never happened. Instead, a wave of blue light spread from the planet, soft, endless, quiet. The AI crackled. Directive core neutralized. All violet coded. Weapons offline. All genetic locks disabled. She did it. 1 year later, the galaxy responds across systems. People watch the truth unfold. Medics who once hid their gifts now walked openly. New laws were made to protect biomodified healers. The name Project Violet became known not as a weapon, but as a warning and a symbol of pain, of hope, of Alina. Her story became legend. The nurse who healed a war. Final scene in a quiet garden on Earth. A memorial stood. No armor, no guns, just a statue of a woman in a medic coat knelling beside a wounded soldier, a hand on his chest, eyes glowing soft blue, the plaque read, "She was never just a medic. She was the last light in a galaxy full of fire. She chose to heal until healing meant sacrifice." Remember her? Remember them? A child walked up and touched the statue. Was she real? His mother nodded.
Not.
Yes. She saved more than lives. She saved the truth. The stars shimmered above, and somewhere in the wind a soft voice whispered, "You are not broken.
Oh.
You are becoming."